What's good, DC?
What up? What up?
What's going on, guys? You are now being affected by the DC speakers. Jay Maestro here.
And your girl, Shadon Diva.
And we got a packed house tonight. We're representing DC.
It's got so hot in here.
Black folks. Keep it sizzle. We got our man, Xander.
How's it going?
DMV Poet.
Yeah, the DMV Poet. What's going on?
We got Lady Midnight over on the other end.
Hey, everybody.
We're gonna put that thing on your hip so you can get to it a lot faster.
Like a holster?
A holster.
A holster microphone.
A holster microphone.
Like
or a girdle. We'll give her a girdle.
What? No, we won't do that.
Yeah. But more importantly, we have our man Doe Cigapom in the house with us. What's going on, man? Yeah. Got the DC Fighters representing. How you been, bro?
Good, man. Just getting ready for this, I guess, new life God got in store for me. Moving from the DMV. I will be a resident of Dallas, Texas soon.
Yay.
Man.
I think it's all God, you know what I mean, for what I'm trying to do and what, you know, me and my wife trying to do. So,
what better place for a DC resident to move than Dallas, Texas?
and like I just told her, it's a lot of people like Redskins now down there. So don't, you know, it's,
that $1 billion stadium, you know, all that legacy and heritage.
For me,
you know,
so
hey, like everybody, you know what I mean?
That's right.
You
That's
can
right.
come down there, and fortunately, I can say that I will be going to the stadium just to say at least I've been to it. But the closest people that's from DC, you're gonna go to Texas Avenue, and that's just southeast. That's as far you're gonna get to the stadium right now.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna highlight one of our local performers right now, Stokes, with his song Circles. We're gonna come back with Doe. We're gonna talk about your projects you're working on, this big new move in life, and what we're gonna be expecting, even though you're there in the DMC.
Yes.
All right, you're on Massov Radio. Check it out. Massov Radio.
I like that song.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I found something that you like.
Yeah, you know it's hard to please me.
I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
So, Doe, what's going on, man? I mean, you've been keeping yourself busy, I see.
Yeah, just staying busy. Like I said, I'm working on this project. I have an album that I'm coming out with another producer, with the same producer that I just dropped Caged Birds with, Soulful. Now that we call him Drew Dave or Julius Dave. Okay. Doing a project with him called Lawki, Lawki, which is Life as We Know It. Mm-hmm. And that album is representing Doe Cigapom, what my name stands for, the acronym.
So what does it stand for? What does the acronym stand for?
Deliver on emotions. Can I get a peace of mind?
Wow.
You know what I mean? Or people, you know, some people just say DC or, you know, Doe Ciga. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The brother's gonna find a way to make the name more cool to them to pronounce it. You know what I mean? But
well, speaking about that, you have a documentary that's out on YouTube.
Yes.
And I find it really fascinating, and the love and respect that many local artists have for you as a hip hop artist. Mm-hmm. And I jotted down a few of them, such as Benji.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, he said he first heard your flow in the studio and knew you were it. You know, and I mean that says a lot. And of course, we had Uptown XO.
Yes,
in here a couple of weeks ago. Man, fantastic, bro.
He was just at the house yesterday. So,
oh man. So, and he said anytime that I get on the track with him is smoking. You know, how do you take those type of good criticisms and not just float out of the room
and be egotistical?
Yeah, yeah, man.
I mean, I've been entertaining all my life since a kid, and like I said, I mean, I sung in the choir as a kid, just by the choir director hearing me sing one day, and I didn't sing, but he swore up and down, and the other lady swore up and down that I can sing.
That boy can sing.
And yeah, he said it just like that. That little boy can sing, plays Jesus. And I started singing then, but before that, I was always into dancing. Like, you know what I mean? I was known as the chubby kid, light on his feet. You know what I mean? Like, I would make a skinny dude look bad any day till this day, even dancing. You know what I mean? And that's not me being mixed with the island in me or none of that. It's just, I would just love music. And, I mean, I used to get beatings for it. Like, you would tell me not to touch a radio, I'm going to touch it. I got to hear what's on.
Right.
It's something that the music does something to me anyway, so.
Right. And I saw you smacking the Congos on that, documentary.
I've been playing that since I was 10 years old.
I mean, you had the true rhythm with it. I saw you lick the finger a little bit in there.
I was taught well. I got a couple cousins that play the congas.
Okay.
And I had a band since I was 12 years old when I moved out into the Maryland Laurel area.
Okay.
Laurel, Maryland. And I was just fascinated of I learned how to play it from learning the pocket beat, but I also had somebody. I kind of learned it like as if I was blind. I used to just close my eyes and try to listen to those sounds and figure them out. And I fell into it, but I started out with drums.
Okay.
Playing the drums. So all percussion is something that I love to play. But,
gotcha.
The music.
Family have a heavy music background?
Yes, my father played drums at one point in time. My mother was in the choir as a child. My aunt played the organ. My grandfather was in the choir. My great-grandmother was in the choir. My father's mother, like I said, my father's side is Dominican. So, bachata, merengue.
Hence your pronunciation of the congas.
Yeah, congas. Tranquilo. Yeah, man. So it's just, man, music's just always been something. It's just something about it till this day. Right. I love music that can make me cry, sad, sing, happy, replay, repeat, whatever. But yeah, music is just something about it, man. Like, but yeah, it's just when I record with those guys and. You know what I mean? Like Benji said, is if you do look at history of hip hop, every big kind of heavy set dude spit better.
Yeah.
If you really listen to it, you know what I mean?
And what's funny though, and please take this as a compliment.
Oh no, I already know you about to go.
When I saw the videos, man, I saw Heavy D. I saw, with the eyes.
Oh yeah,
Bo
Diddley. Oh, man. He was man, what?
Yeah, I mean,
baggy pants.
Don't forget, he could dance.
What?
So I mean, it connected. But one of the other things, you had a line in one of your raps, and basically is that, and I don't hear it in music today. And basically, what you were saying pretty much was sidekick to Robin, you're just Batman's assistant.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't hear people make connections like that. You hear a lot of normal cursing and this and that. But where do you think has hip hop or rap itself has gone that has allowed you though to maintain? Because a lot of people's trying to copy stuff that really is not authentic.
The easiest thing to copy is, and I label it, trap music. The stuff that you hear turn up, that you want to turn up in. Everybody can rap that way. Even myself, I've done it this year. And the music that I've done with content, I like it. But like I said, I'm a percussionist. So if you give me a beat, I'm going to try to rap towards that beat. I don't believe in, being, Johnny that's not from the hood and want to still try to dance to jazz. No, you're still going to look like a sore thumb. Like,
right.
So it's just that is so easy, and that's what makes it so hard for people like us to stand out, though. Because I grew up on hip hop. And hip hop to me was taught not just the elements of the DJing, scratching, graffiti, breakdancing, rhyming, freestyling, and also just writing. You know what I mean? It's more to that. Like, it's no disrespect. I'm skin. I'm hue. I'm human. I'm a man of color. So we vibrate different.
Absolutely.
So it's no disrespect. That's not a subliminal term, but it's true. I'm human.
Right.
And if you're not color, it's hard for you to vibrate the way we do. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's a beautiful way of putting it. That's a beautiful way of putting it. So let's do this. I want to get into some of your music. Right now, like to play Summertime Stroll.
Okay.
And everything, since it's warm outside.
Okay.
Get the ladies and everybody vibing off of it.
Yeah, sundresses.
Tell us a little bit about it. Get us into it and everything.
This face he's making though.
Yes. Summertime Stroll was more of the introduction of, as a kid, of me, but also just being as an adult now in different perspective as, when I was a kid in trouble, or we'll look as kids in our adolescence of being useless to the society, of say walking around smoking weed and just enjoying the days in the neighborhood. That's what I was rapping about. But it wasn't in the perspective of that's what the song is about.
Right.
And the perspective of is everything. Like I said in it, it's candlelight memorials. You know how the story goes. Younger had to die, only Lordy knows where homie goes. So these are the things that I went through. I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 82. Crack came in here on purpose in 82. In 89, the people that my family had ran with was gone, but not gone.
Right.
So the lifestyles that I've seen, can't too many people really relate of what I really grew up in my household. My household was kind of more, I'd rather have been out in the street than have been in my house.
Right.
So it's just the summertime stroll, just taking that walk through DC and you know what I mean? Just you know what I mean?
Well, let's vibe off of DC. Here's Doe Cigapom, Summertime Stroll here on Massov Radio.
C.I.G.A.P.O.M.
See, I'm trying to hurry. I'm looking at my corner eye. You're trying to rush me off, and I'm trying to do this right. And you keep on messing with me.
Mia's gonna get her bell.
You just keep on messing with me.
Mike and Tina, Gina.
Summertime stroll, you know. Walk with me. Hey, look. Puffing on the funnel, breathing uptown air. The city that divide niggas past this like here. Coming through the wrong block, you gotta pay your fare. Cause if not, it's like playing a game of truth or dare. The truth being told, the story's always told by the younger who survive and the one who watch the fold. I'm trying to stack my cash till my pockets unfold. See many summers hot and see many winters cold. Niggas got popped and watched their face turn cold. I used to tell my mama the ghetto fucks on my soul, yeah. Then I asked why my heart is so cold, like I keep that bitch on polar bear froze. But what I do know is just the side effects of the ghetto, cause I gotta take my days more slow, like a summertime stroll. Puffing on the J's on the drove, just relax and watch the smoke flow. This is what I see when I summertime stroll, when I summertime stroll. Walking through the block, everybody say hello. Some things never change, but the same stays old. So when it do change, make sure that you evolve like the evolution, like fungus growing on mold. This is what I see when I summertime stroll. When I summertime stroll. Still strolling on my fucking blocks and my avenues. I love my city. I show it with the gratitude. Yes, I got the attitude. Coming from the city that I'm from, you can die for one of your shoes without the tongue. Nobody wants to see you make it. So if they give you props, they lying or they faking. Now everybody's Muslim nowadays on that Assalamu alaikum. And 2 minutes later, it's where my salami bacon. If I offend you, then you should always know that Doe Cigapom's the one to keep it real with you. The poverty's in my streets, that's the real issue. RIP's on our T's, say I still miss you. Yup, candlelight memorials, you know how the story goes. Younger had to die, only Lordy knows where homie goes. Yeah, that's the way the streets go with the flow. You gotta let God and let it go. This is what I see when I summertime stroll. When I summertime stroll. Walking through the block, everybody say hello. Some things never change, but the same stays old. So when it do change, make sure that you evolve like the evolution, like fungus growing on mold. This is what I see when I summertime stroll. When I summertime stroll. If you see me summertime strolling, just holler at me, homie. You know that we rolling. I'm strolling through my beautiful blocks and I'm puffing that loud from the night to the morning. If you see me summertime strolling, just holler at me, homie. You know that we rolling. I'm strolling through my beautiful blocks and we puffing that loud from the night to the morning. If you see me summertime strolling, just holler at me, homie. You know that we rolling. I'm strolling through my beautiful blocks and I'm puffing that loud from the night to the morning. If you see me summertime strolling, just holler at me, homie. You know that we rolling. I'm strolling through my beautiful blocks and we puffing that loud from the night to the morning.
All right, summertime stroll.
That's perfect for the weather outside.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's
Very,
funny
very
when you were describing it, I started thinking about what was that?
You knew.
There's something else coming up.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about how, in the neighborhood, we would try to copy what we saw coming out of New York. Because during the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, we had go-go. We still have go-go music, but you had that mainstream rap influence that was coming down. So beatboxing, popping, breakdancing, and then being able to rap. But it still didn't catch on as fast as it is now. You have a lot of artists coming out of DC some already signed. Logic, Wale, of course, things of that sort.
Logic, yes.
What do you think it would take? And I asked even EXO when he was on the show. What do you think it would take in order to get DC to be recognized for the quality artists? Because, not just blowing smoke at you. You're a quality artist.
Right.
I've seen you perform. Also, too, you're connected with the community and everything. EXO the same way. Kid named Breezy when we had him.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does it need to take or needs to happen in order for DC to really kind of be respected by those on the outside?
I mean, I love my city, but at the end of the day, a lot of us are, it's like a bandwagon city. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're not tight unless you're on TV or they seen you somewhere real quick or heard you on the radio. You know what I mean? But, honestly, a lot of kids in my era that grew up, they know about the old history of DC musically. Duke Ellington, Thomas Pullen coming down here, the Rat Pack and all of those things, even to where, how a lot of people from the West Coast and the upper East Coast took Washington, D.C.'s and Baltimore's jazz style.
Right.
And now it's the doo-wop, doo-wop. Like, come on now. So
yeah, because this
area is jazz influence. It's a go-go. I mean, like I said, me and EXO was talking about it the other day, where, Chuck Brown is really not from here, but he's built the foundation through his music and jazz influence through the go-go, to where he's not really the first go-go band. I have the picture in my phone right here who was the first go-go band, and EXO's grandfather is in there.
Oh wow!
And it's called the Young Senators, 1964.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the original go-go band. So like I said, if you're going to represent DC or whatever, you need to know your history, at least to me, and know where you're going with your music, because a lot of you coming out here and I just hear, I'm from Southeast, South Dakota, and you rep, like, a lot of y'all calling out y'all hoods and not even know that was slave foundation.
Right.
So you got to know where you coming from, and I mean, to even know where you're going sometimes, even with that music. And, on an industry level, the A&Rs don't care that we rapping lyrically. You know what I mean? The metaphors, the hyperboles, the characteristics, all of those things. Like, they don't care about that. You know what I mean? I've seen A&Rs even come to me when we did a little, you don't rap about, drugs, e-pills, and how you used to grow up on the block. And yeah, I do. Listen to my music. You just don't hear it in the way that you want to hear it.
Right. And
that goes back to what I said about being hue. You know what I mean? Most people with no hue, they don't know what a real soul is because they can't vibrate off of that.
Oh, they're trying to vibrate off of the dollar.
And that's why churches is the biggest thing in America. But if you go back home in Dominica, you may only see like probably 6 churches.
Right.
You know what I mean? In that neighborhood though.
Right.
But the neighborhood is big, so we don't. It's the Americans are more with the money thing, and I understand what it is, but God didn't put in God we trust on that dollar bill. So at the end of the day, we are all living in the matrix. Every time we spend $1, we are all playing that game. You know what I mean? Even myself, because we are built off of material things that as necessities, when the necessities are not material.
So for one, you're relevant. So you kept your material relevant, whereas that it resonates with people both on the streets, both that want to party, both of them that want to also be just enlightened, as it were. So how do we keep that at the same time, make it what it really is, a business? I mean, because music is, power. It's a universe.
Yes.
But at the same time, we educate and we also have to survive and benefit.
Right.
How do you get a balance with that?
There really isn't a balance. I just pray.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? It's not a balance. I don't like money. I'm anti-government, everything. You know what I mean? Like I am. There's no way in the world that I'm sitting here. We are in the most powerful city in the world. People don't know how DC is connected to these people that's over here in Europe that basically took this land through bankings. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And now money and currency is built up, and now this place is called America. Right. You know what I mean? So I pray, you know what I mean? I pray for that. I just, pray one day we can go back to our old indigenous habitat. And I help you build a house, help me get crop. You know what I mean? I really do. I wouldn't, because that's what they still do back home.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't see too many people fighting over houses. Why? Because I can go to a sheet metal house, lay my own brick, build my own foundation, dig it out, put cement in it, and now I got my own home. To where over here we have to find someone and depend on someone. And that's why I always hear a lot of Americans, oh, if you can't do nothing for me, I ain't doing nothing for you. Why would you hold me up to a material value that quick and you don't even know what I could? I might can save your life through CPR. But since you hold me to a value, maybe your life doesn't matter to me then.
Yeah.
Now you want help.
But see, that goes to what you're saying is that life then has a dollar sign on it.
Yes.
And unfortunately, what we have seen from the time we've grown up even to right now, that dollar price changes always. I mean,
also, American currency is weak.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be honest.
So what I'm getting at is, what really then is the value of a human life, in that sense. And that's a shame, because what we enjoy the most, companionship, music, and how all that universally connects us together, gets cheapened because of the fact that we look at each other maybe as a dollar sign. And that
the matrix, I call it. Money, numbers, letters, that's all matrix. It has to deal with it. Me, I think what it is just me being honest. Like I said, I'm into astrology and all that, so I'm a Virgo. I play the chameleon. When I see you already walk around with your tail cut off, so I'm a making it look like my tail's cut off too. But my music is everything. Don't dare touch that. I will even sacrifice being locked away for my music, and I'm dead serious, like I am. But and at a round table, when I'm looking at people of hue or not, I don't care what you care about me or what you're trying to get. I know your motive. So let's play your game too, because the money that I'm gonna get out of you and cheat you for, I got foundations that I'm trying to do and feed homeless, and everything that I went through, I'm trying to have some type of foundation for.
Let's talk about that. We're going to play another song. In fact, since you mentioned Hue, we're going to go into Human mix.
Yes.
And listen to that.
I'm going to actually listen to this.
All right, that works. And then I want to talk about some of the things you've been doing in the school system, especially with DCPS and some of the charitable things that you've been hooked up with in that connection.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to play Human mix here on Massov Radio. Check it out.
Yeah, I love this song.
AB love mistakes. Ain't no mistaking what I'm about to say though. Did you really know that human came from us? So if he's not who, he's not you. God's beautiful genes are calculated them times two. Instead of giving you greens, I'm just giving you mind food. We made you in the Caucasus Mountains, my nigga. We the ones holding the youth inside the fountains, my nigga. The melatonin is showing what the cerebellum's knowing. Skin is glowing. You are the opposite of what we showing. Shall I go in? The shit gets to me. History's always taught from a man that took a land but forget to see him. You slaughtered our indigenous land and took history like a mystery. Even copied the way we could fricassee. Shit sickens me. Now I ain't racist, but I'm speaking the truth. But real lies if you turn it red, but then I'm speaking to you. Those lies in the books are red. Yeah, I'm seeing through you. You was lying and Jesus features. Room in the New Jerusalem. I'm human. What am I supposed to do? I'm just telling the truth. I won't lie to you. I'm resupplying a fire inspired inside of you. Those other dudes is just liars. They keep on lying to you, but just reply. I'm human. I turn around and ask, what are human? They was crucifying the leaders, the type of shit that I proved to them. I ain't trying to be rude to them, but I'ma tell the truth to the end. I'm human, but you men can't vibrate like us. You don't even have the genes that we in. We emulate in a walking style of genes that we in. I'm God's child, a man of color, ain't no need to pretend. Now if you follow the facts, then I will lead you right in. Your perception has been neglected by the message of men. You ain't noticed, they lied about Jesus up in the Bible, blue eye. Blonde hair man, they wanted to make him your idol. If you doing what I do, read between the lines and see these niggas lying in between the lines. My spirit is redefined. I'm the stand-up type where y'all niggas sitting with seats reclined. No wonder why you always need a spine. If you believe in what you seeing from these Europeans, they peeing on us, making lesser of these human beings. I'm human, what am I supposed to do? I'm just telling the truth. Won't lie to you. I'm resupplying a fire inspired inside the youth. Those other dudes is just liars. They keep on lying to you, but just reply, I'm human.
Very deep, man.
That was serious.
That was pretty
That was
serious.
I turn around and I ask, "What are you, man?" That's serious.
Yeah, I turn around and ask, "What are you, men?" I mean, look at what they do every day. If you look on TV, the cosmetics, you know what I mean, the pills for men. Like, I'm proud of me. You know what I mean. And it's nothing to take that away. You know what I mean. I love the fact that I'm Hugh. You know what I mean. So a light-skinned man can make a dark child or a light child. That's beautiful. You know, no other hue, you can't do that. And even if your child comes out albino, please know that that is a trait of hue, of mispigmentation.
Right.
So,
see, hip hop and rap, to me, doesn't have that resonating deepness today as I've heard you and EXO, even Breezy. You know, you guys, when I get in conversations with you, whether on the air or off, I learn something, and it's substance. You know, whereas that when I listen to interviews or even kind of connect with other folks, it's more personal beefs, or it's just, you know, I got to get mine, and it's almost like it's just kind of a piece of paper swirling in the wind. And it's refreshing because I think we, as an industry, have lost sight of what really works. Now, granted, there's commercialism, and most deep hip-hop artists, rappers, you hear in the underground pipe.
yes.
So, you know, most of that stuff doesn't make it to the airwaves. But you did have a time period where that stuff did make it to the airwaves.
Yeah, you did. I mean, if let's just be 100. If you was the evil person or the foundation of what America really is, and you knew that.
Shadon calls me the creep, so maybe that might be the
You know
same
what I mean? Yeah, no, it's just more so if you knew that somebody knew everything about you or your plots or what you're trying to do to you, yourself, or other people, would you really want that person to speak out on you? You know what I mean? No, you wouldn't. But a person like me, what I've been through and what I've do is nothing to really hide. Therefore, it's going to be seen by God anyway. Yeah. So, you know, the people know who's behind the industry, and none of those people are from where we're from. They built where we're from, but they didn't live in those suburbs, urban areas, or the hoods, or the cities, or whatever you want to call them. But they took everything from them, from sports to everything. I mean, I want to go typical back to the point. Even basketball, that was an Indian game. You know, even hockey. I mean, we can go that far. So they took everything. So it's just. They're there to give you the money, and that's the only thing I know as myself I pray for as it being a sin. Even myself, or even all of us, we go to work for something else. It has really nothing to really do with us. So the main scheme for us to even do, we just be able to provide for our children or our home, whatever. But like I said, that's a scheme. So nobody's not going to want you to know the main scheme when it comes to the music, and that's what it is. They know what they can promote to us. Why? And there's no disrespect, because the people of color, we sometimes can be stupid.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Soon as money come across, soon as, you know, I mean, this just a shame with us though. As soon as money is involved, it's like, oh well, you know, here you go, all the morals and all of your insides. I don't care about that. You know what I mean? And that's just me. I'm a die without it regardless.
That's true. I mean, you can't take it with you. You never see a U-Haul, you know, falling behind a hearse.
You never don't. Never do.
Yeah.
So.
But even the pharaohs, you know, they got locked up with their riches, but this down in the Smithsonian is in the different museums around the world. So I mean, it's for our enjoyment to watch it, but they don't have it. So one of the things that I was interested in is your ability to reach out to the community and the things you've done. Like you did a performance at Cleveland Elementary School during their 100-year celebration. And when we were there, when I first met you, you expressed a lot of interest in the youth. Tell me how you got to that point where is that was really an interesting, you know, plateau for you. You know, that was just something that was bypass, or something that was just accidental.
It wasn't. It never was. Since a child, I was like that. I used to cry when you used to see the little 35 cents a day, you know, little commercials as a kid. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have everything. You know what I mean? Because even at that time, my parents was big addicts of PCP, cocaine, crack, whatever you want to call it. of any drug, and they will support their habit but wouldn't even feed us. So I felt like I was one of those kids in the third world country, but I just wasn't living in the environment of mud houses and, you know what I mean, sheet metal homes, as of what I spoke of earlier. But also I was abused, you know what I mean? And I won't get into depths, but I was in every form of abuse that your mother or father wouldn't want their child to go through. Right. Or the biggest fear, I'll say that, the biggest fear, if y'all know what abuse, any child, you don't want your child to go through. Right. I went through that. Okay. I went through physical abuse. I was homeless. I was poor. I mean, why not be active for these kids? You know what I mean? And I was not. I consider myself a diamond in the rough, because we all are. We all came from the mud. It's just on my own time, I want the world to see what I can do for it, because, like I said, I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for stability, and that's the only sin that I have to have with the money is stability. But I really want to use the other money for homeless foundations, children that's been abused, molested, homeless. I mean, that's where it really comes from. You know what I mean? From being poor to being teased, to even now that you got stuff and you still can see how, you know what I mean, your parents are not addicts no more, but you can still see certain traits of their lifestyle now. Yeah. Because money is in their life now. They're not on that drug, but you're still an addict. It's just your new drug is money. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's just, you know what I mean? And every day I walk past here in U Street, you know what I mean? You guys see how many people walk past homeless people, don't even give them $1. You know what I mean? And I was one of those people. Right. You know what I mean? I was one of those people, and that just bothers me. Yeah.
What I look at, too, is that society, you know, it also takes a person of certain character and caliber, because you stayed focused enough to get you to where you are right now. You know, people in the DMV represent, you know, what you believe, and they stay by because of what you say. You know, and you have a lot of artists that follow you for that. And there are many people that have been touched by what you have done and what you are currently doing, and more than likely, it's safe to say, will be touched and encouraged as the future
I'm going to continue this. I'm not, like I said, I still love party music. I still love, but, you know, my main go through all of my music. Whether you went to the club, as they say, twerk, or whatever you want to call yourself doing, that money that you're paying for me, or to invest, or to believe in me, is going back to somebody's child, someone's home, some type of groceries. Like I say, even before I leave, I'm doing a little sandwich thing. I'm going to the CC&V over there in 2nd and D, and I'm just going to make a whole bunch of sandwiches as much as I can with my own money. And
you got a date for that already? You want to put out there?
No, I don't have a date yet. Okay. It's going to be right before I leave. I will contact you. All right. Give me at least by next week. All right. And like I said, I'm just going to make as many sandwiches as I can and give them out to the homeless. And that's just something, man, that, like I said, it's just, like I said, when I grew up here in D.C., all the spots that people think is popping, it wasn't. Like Adams Morgan was the area when I was growing up. 18th Street, my mother, and that was their area. So, you know what I mean? So it's just a lot. I've seen murders by the age I was 6, seeing 4.
Yeah, I mean, this neighborhood in itself, man. Was talking with a local artist, in her right as an author, Tanya Floyd, who's going to be here on the show as well. And we grew up in this area, and I mean, it is totally transformed.
Yeah. I remember when U Street right here across from Republic Gardens was just an empty parking space. Yeah. I remember when 11th and U with the Bohemian Cavern was considered the old club called the Underground, and that's where my parents I used to sleep in that club. Wow. You know what I mean? So when I go in there to perform there, that is so funny that God takes me in there, and I have to remember every time I look at that bar, that's where I used to sleep at, because my parents was too intoxicated, or, you know what I mean, they just didn't feel like taking us home to go to school the next day. So when I do finally get to school, I'm in school with the same clothes, smelling like whatever debris that they was blowing out of their chests.
Is that a humbling, sobering feeling?
It's a hurting thing. But it's also a humbling for me to remind myself, like, you know, no matter how much money I got or whatever, my 10% don't go to churches, no disrespect. Right. It goes to the actual church, and the church is the people. Right. My church is not a preacher. It's the people. Right. you'll get more soul from a homeless person than a man that's just trying to get that collection plate from you.
Right.
And I've seen that myself too, so that's another reason. So I believe in the Bible, but I don't believe in the way that the preacher may preach it.
Right.
It's typically what it says. It's not about that. It's not about going to church and seeing who got the best dress on, or did Althea put on her hat that match her shoes. It really isn't.
Right.
It's so old, that's stupid, and it's just blasphemous to me. That's blasphemous of hue. Color of hue, and hue of color in people. That's what they do at church. So I don't do that. Like, my church are the homeless people, the people that's been abused, the killers, the sinners. That's my church. That's what I grew up around. Like, I learned how to be humble from killers. My dad, I mean, he was the most abusive man in, I probably would say, in probably the world, man. Like, he was what they say, El Diablo. Like, he was very spiritually, was another thing, a type of abuse people would never understand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless you was Hispanic or African and knew what Santeria or Shangol is, the spiritual. He was demonically, something was wrong with my father.
Right.
But street smarts is what gave me the humbling life also, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But also working with the government too.
Yeah.
I quit that job. Like, I'll tell you straight up. People call me stupid for that, but
Right.
I know what that's all about too. I mean, I'm just trying to be here for the people.
I hear you.
And I know, you know, not trying to be funny, maybe when the stardom do come, I probably will get killed by them. I'm just being funny. Not trying to be funny, but what I stand for, they will assassinate me. I know that. Because I'm willing to fight for it. I'm not going to let here and all of the information that I got in my music or in my brain that I haven't even let out yet to give to you guys before they try to get me.
Yeah.
And I see it. Look at every artist that died all of a sudden, that stood up for something after they got tired of seeing what was going on.
Right.
Michael Jackson, Tupac, even Biggie Smalls. But they use that. I just watched it too much. It's no conspiracy theory. Sometimes you just gotta be not stupid and just look at it and take it for what it is and look behind it. And that's why my great grandmother said it. She knew the world was gonna come to an end when the TV came in. Because people don't even know that the TV was a European project, science project. See what I'm saying? It was a project on us. For when TV came in the world, it made all of the kids stop coming to the park so they can't vibrate off each other.
Right.
And that's why you have no respect. Kids right now, that's the first they know how to do. But they won't talk to a kid that they just meet randomly.
Right.
They won't do it no more.
Well, our society has kind of gravitated away from the whole, connection with each other, because ultimately, even, instead of telling your child why not to talk to strangers, or really what is a stranger, and you mentioned about abuse, research has shown that most abuse occur with a child, with someone that they know, versus a stranger.
Yep.
And even some of the things that you mentioned, galvanized that. Shout outs to Patrice and Sarah over at Children's Hospital Medical Center, Center for Abused Children. Met with them a couple of weeks ago on a project that they're doing with one of the local D.C. public schools, and that was one of the statistics that we were talking about, was that most abuse there is done by people that the child knows and is comfortable with.
Any abuse that I ever went through was not a stranger. I'll put it just like that. So, period, point blank. My father was the abusive physical one. All the other ones was relatives.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's the truth, and that's the taboo of people of color too, that we learned from that. That's why people just need to go back to that, and the whole taboo of the dealing with the inner family taboos that come from slavery. That just comes from slavery. If people can see it, if you watch the real movies, it wasn't about the man trying to figure out why is that black woman so beautiful. They was trying to figure out why men built the way that we are built too, and why women are built the way that we built.
Yeah.
That's what they really wanted to know, and that's why they used to put us in barns together, put all the men together and put the women together. So if I want her, I can go get her. Mind you, my great grandmother was a slave after slavery was abolished in Southern Maryland. This is what my great grandmother is telling me.
Wow.
She died in '94. So slavery ended in the late 1800s, and if I'm incorrect. So what is she doing still being a slave in Southern Maryland?
See, I think that's what a lot of people tend to forget.
And they fail to forget, and how DC was made.
Or they don't want to think about it, or they don't want it discussed, is even though slavery was abolished, it took another whole generation for it to be
Get out of the
of
system.
practice.
Yeah.
Like, it was still accepted. The police department still didn't say anything. It was just, even though the law changed, it was still accepted in large areas of the country. So it's like to say that slavery ended 400 or 500 years ago. I mean, really, at the end of the day, it still exists in Washington, D.C. We have these suburban families that get these African immigrants, Hispanic immigrants, bring them over here, promise them a good life and money, and they lock them down in the basement and have them doing laundry and washing the dishes. So it's like, I mean, it still exists. You know, it's not a situation of racism per se, but it's just a situation of one person taking advantage of another.
We're going to have to take a break. We're going to be right back. Did you miss us? I know you did, DC.
We had to take a bathroom break.
I want a Patron break, but they won't let me have it. I'm sorry. I had to venture there. Why you staring at me?
See?
What'd I do?
I had my fair share last night. I'm good.
Oh, for real?
Oh, that's what that look came from, huh?
That,
You know what that look was? The look that I was holding on my face inside, but not on external. Because when you meet Mr. Foster first, he's very, oh, hey, how you doing? Your name's Cynthia? Hi, Mr. Doe Cigapom at the school, but then...
Oh, really?
don't reveal
I don't want to see him turn up.
I can't imagine him even being like, turn
I
out.
can.
Turn down for what?
He's from Uptown. That's Uptown. Don't get it twisted. That's what I learned about Uptown guys that's from back in the day. They play like they smooth and they got that side up. Don't let it fool you.
My mama listens to the show, so I have to keep myself up.
Well, mama know already.
Oh, yeah,
she had you.
Oh, yeah. She said, look, I understand you better than you understand yourself. So it's all good.
So you got the good hair and all that. You know how he was back in the day. You can tell. You can just tell. Terrible, as the girls say.
He was Donnie Simpson back in the day.
He was that guy.
Cuban. He was Cuban.
That guy.
He was Cuban. He was hanging in the old Mount Pleasant of Fort Stevens.
Oh!
Way up Fort Stevens where the Hispanic was just at right there when he first came in from Silver Spring. They had to go to Fort Stevens.
And you know what's funny? I went to Nativity.
See what I'm saying? He was, ¿qué lo que, papi? Yo soy tranquilo. Orgullo dominicano.
But that's my junior high school, my high school teacher, Miss Jefferson. She said, now, Foster, you understand that you need not mess with these little girls up here because they're going to be trying to find a way to stay in this country. So I don't want to hear that.
See?
I was like, trust me, I need to stay in this country. My brother found out I done something, man. I will be out quickly. I will be deported. We'll be all gone.
That would have been my hustle.
Oh, for real?
I'm selling green cards. Who want to get married? What? Today.
And you got to stay with me till after taxes for the first year.
Exactly. Exactly, of course.
Now, if any of you try this, we want 5%.
No, I don't want to be tied to this at all. You're not about to get me messed up.
I got security clearance. I'd appreciate keep my name out of things like this.
So listen, we're going to play a song by Fame, The Glory. Another local DC artist.
Yeah, Famous Hip Hop, Bandcamp. Go download it.
All right. Here on Massov Radio. So that's our man Fame, The Glory, here on Massov Radio. A lot of talented artists here in the DMV, man.
Yes.
A lot of talented artists.
Yes, there is, man. Do you mind if I shout out a few, though?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I need
Yes.
some new music to listen to.
Yes, Sir EU. He used to be part of the Ku Klux Klan. He had a friend named Aviana the Dromeda. He passed away. He was like 18 or 19, if I'm not mistaken. C.I.G.A.P.O.M, which has a brother, if I'm not mistaken, Jamal Gray, the Carry Out. My Family, Secret Society, AB the Pro, Benji, XO, Uptown XO. I got Gordo Brega. Who else we got? Man, there's so many people. Dagger is a good artist, man. You got Tragic. You got Hustle, Elroy Hustle. There's YU, Odyssey, Logic. Logic's crazy. Logic's a good artist, man. Jean Shelley, she's a girl. Jean Shelley or Shelley, if I'm not mistaken. She is sick. If I could find her for you before I leave, I'm definitely like this girl. I've never seen a girl rap with hip hop jazz and break down into a jazz and what they call it scattling. From rap, killed it. yes, like I said, music does certain things, and she did a certain thing to me for music.
Special thing.
Yeah, and it was like, so it's so many. Oh man, there's so many people. Slim Cat, which is a producer though.
So where's the best place to go to see talented local artists in the DMV?
When I started doing the open mics, let's just be clear. I was going through a situation. I just came home, not in jail. I tried to hurt myself. I wanted to take my life.
Okay.
And when I came home, Uptown XO, I was trying to get back to that question when you asked what helped. Uptown XO is probably the reason why I'm still alive. I didn't want him around me. I just expressed this to him yesterday. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I didn't want him around me. The devil didn't want him around because I wanted to kill myself again. And he would not leave my house. So even how I met him when I walked back into my building, he seen me. It's like he just walked in my house. He didn't know I was Fruit Loops crazy out there, out my mind. So he didn't care. Did not leave my house and brought me back out here to the music. When I just came home, I was still sleepwalking, like just in boxers going outside in Greenbelt,
Right.
because I was so drugged up being there. And every day at my house, every day. And he's the one that brought me to the U Street, the Renaissance that we had.
Right.
Pure, or bar none, let me say. The Republic Garden, U Street, the U Club, True School, State of the Union. You had the Caffer House, Live nightclub, of course, Bohemian Caverns, Island Cafe, Red Lounge, the I-Bar. I mean, but U Street was the home. U Street is what I got my skills up, showed people who I was, everything. U Street. U Street is where really to go. And just keep your eyes out for venues. You know what I mean? It's not as what it used to be today because of the gentrification. And certain people are complaining that we still have venues that go on at night while they're sleeping at the Duke Ellington. But, you know, like I said, we still got some of those venues. You still got 18th Street, Hella Heaven, Madam's Morgan there. You know what I mean?
It's so
The
crazy
Reef.
because because I have a heavy spoken word background.
You probably don't remember, but I know about your work. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've performed with you. I'm gonna see how far you can remember. But
Oh, jeez. I probably don't.
Nope. I'll tell you. Like, I'll just give you my number and we'll talk later. Yeah. So,
about to blow my life.
but you went on right after another spoken word guy, and he's out in Maryland right now. And if I'm not mistaken, he has African roots. But I don't know the poem you did, but I took it as you was just talking about freeing yourself spiritually and longevity. And to hear people of color that we don't have extensive vocabularies, and to find a way you can find the simplest words, such as simple, but make simple have a metaphor or a characteristic of life or of a woman or just reading a book, but it was simple. People don't see that. Like, you know what I mean? Like my grandma would say, try to look into the color of blue out of gray somewhere. Try. You'll find it. You know what I mean?
Those small details.
And those small details. That's where lyricism comes into play.
Exactly.
Being an MC. You can be an MC and a poet. Because I started rapping just by writing poems. You know what I mean? My Virgo side, I was one of the girls to know that, if I didn't want to be the ratchet guy in high school. Because that's, girls turned me to be that guy, though. Because I was a soft guy till I seen how some women can be. So I was like, okay, let's throw it
Game
on.
on.
Let's play.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it was the certain ones that I really liked and they had my attention. I would write a poem. You know what I mean? So it's like I till this day love poetry. I'll probably go to a poetry or a poem concert quicker than just rapping.
Yeah.
Like for real, I would. Like I love poetry.
See, I was keeping quiet because I was waiting for you to release something about Xander.
Nah,
I was just waiting.
This dude deep. I mean, he needs to have an interview too, man. Like I said, like I'm gonna see how far because he's been in this area.
Oh, well, he's got
long time.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Like
he's got a show that's coming up right after ours, and Streams of Consciousness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely, everybody listening, you want to check that out because I remember he worked along with a mutual friend of ours, Tim O Productions.
Yeah.
and Tim Bond, and basically you have a piece of material that he knows is my favorite, you know, Inadequacy. So I'll leave it at that. Definitely listen out for that.
Well, I appreciate all the love.
So what we're gonna do though is that we're gonna go to another one of your songs though, Cage Birds.
Okay.
And give us a little bit information, a little bit background on that.
Cage Birds is what it is. When you listen to it, it's about setting myself free. Who's gonna set me free? That's what the name of the song says for. But you know what I mean? It's you know, verbatim what it is. I try to smile every day I wake up, put my knees to the floor and thank my maker. You know what I mean? Sometimes I might grab the bamboo and funnel, then I bake up because life is beautiful like my wife with no makeup. But I'm feeling caged up like a parrot who can't fly, spread his wings. There's no meaning in life if you can't fly.
Wow.
So when I walk my life, I use my third eye. Wow. I see that trap clearly. Whatever comes, I roll with the punches, but I roll with a couple back. Life and happiness is some shoes, so I'm trying to just run with that.
Woo, DC, you better recognize.
So it's like that's exactly what it is. It's just about setting myself free because, you know, like I said, me being mentally ill at one time and still knowing the traits of what my illnesses are, I'm using them instead of using them as crutches.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the medicine they can give you makes you turn those into crutches. I am so serious. These people think going to a doctor is getting medicated. Oh boy, let me tell you, those places up there on that 3rd and 4th floor, those medications are real. They are really real, and when you take that pill, from the minute of that first week, is basically what they call it, that 50-50 chance. That 50-50 chance. You either gonna survive that pill or you gonna kill yourself. And setting myself free, Cage Birds, man, was just one of those things. You know what I mean? I was just setting myself free. You know, like I said, for me to be the Virgo that I am, we have a tendency sometimes to hold grudges, but not show it. You know what I mean? But we'll beat ourselves up. And I just refused this year, you know what I mean? And I made it to an age at where I'm from, not too many people make it to where I made it to, you know what I mean? I'm happy. Right. You know what I mean? And some days I'm still sad though, you know what I mean? But I'm overall of it, I'm just happy. Right. I'm still here. Like,
I feel like you have a real strong purpose.
And that's it. Yeah. I mean, I know I do. I'm just waiting for God to just make that flower bloom a little bit more for me. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. I'm not, like I said, if anything I have for sin is shoes and spending the money to help people, though. You know what I mean? But otherwise than that, like, excuse me, that's just my purpose, man. I'm not going to be right until I know I done fed as many people as I could or tried. You know what I mean? And that's it. Right. That's just me. Like, people just don't see how far we have let other people come here and take what we've been doing, and they commercialized everything from the food to your own electricity. How can you charge me electricity
on
that
my
comes
radio?
from
You can say whatever you want.
I know. I'm just saying, but how can you charge me electricity that comes from? Man didn't make that. That was already here. It killed the first person before Benjamin Franklin had put the key in the light in the rain. It killed the first person. So how can you charge me as something that wasn't made by you?
It's capitalism.
And that's exactly what it is.
I know you can't get it without me, so I'm going to make you give me something for
and that's why I think on a spiritual note, certain things you see, like the sinkholes. You know, I'm sorry for the people that may get caught up in these things. I just think bit by bit, God is just moving the earth again to what it was. Because people fail to forget that D.C. was a very cold land. We used to get ice storms.
Constantly.
Yeah. Back in the 30s, in the 20s. Now you just get a snow on you. Yeah. And that's it. God is just reformatting everything again. And that's just what I see. Like, you know what I mean? But have mercy on the souls who started this world.
And I'm going to get into your song, but I'll say this, though. I always look at things from different perspectives, and sometimes even like a military perspective. And if you look at it from the standpoint of just men themselves, sometimes our worst enemy is ourselves. And so that when you look at how man has damaged the earth, how they damaged human relationships, how they even now really creating a void, whereas that even the procreation of man himself is being tainted, is being diluted, or almost even stunt.
Let's just be honest. The government they're desensitizing the masculinity in men. Let's just be honest. Every rapper has to. I mean, come on, dudes. I can point out some of these rappers that I've seen in female stores picking up the tight jeans just so they can sit and look good on their shoes.
Side eye.
As y'all say, girl love.
Oh,
so yeah. So it's like,
but sometimes
I don't do that. Me being a Virgo, I already got enough feminine there in me in my spirit anyway. You know what I mean? It's a woman sign.
But,
so
right, but I mean, even with that, you know, I think too that you sometimes have a force or entity that's almost bigger than man himself. That kind of takes man to this point because he really don't maybe like man that much. And I think a lot of what you're saying resonates with that. And like I mentioned when EXO was on here, you know, it's good when people can step back and start thinking about the real mechanics, the real engine that's behind it, because sometimes we get caught up and we think like the enemy is the person that I'm looking at, whereas really there is
it's
an
the person
entity.
it's the person who trained that person to make you look at that person like that.
Right. And I'm even going as far as maybe even a personage that actually is behind it that can drive a person to that. So, you know, let's do this. Let's play Cage Birds. Who's on this feature with you? It was
this beautiful lady. Oh yes, here's another artist. Her name is Denidra Roel.
Roel, that's it.
She's beautiful.
Gotcha.
Just beautiful.
Check it out, guys.
And thank my maker. Then I grab the bamboo and funnel, then I bake up. This life is beautiful like my wife with no makeup. But I'm feeling caged up like a parrot who can't fly, spread his wings. There's no meaning to life if you can't fly. So when I walk my life, I'm using my third eye. I see the track clearly, whatever comes, roll with the punches. But I'm throwing a couple back. Life and happiness in some shoes, so I'm trying to just run with that. But I'm running like running backs. I'm married now, old life, young, and I'm done with that. I carried out all the negativity. Sometimes I even see the devil still trying to sit with me, but God ain't forgetting me. And I'm gonna be a better me. So fuck being a cage bird. Somebody take this key and set me free. Who's gonna set me free? Who's gonna set me free? Who's gonna set me free? Yeah, who's gonna set me free? My description of the vision that I'm painting, Michelangelo couldn't even paint it. It's hard for you to love your life when everything is tainted. It's even more hard when you try to maintain it. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and what I'm spitting is worth for you to listen. Follow guidelines towards your inner vision. Since the day of my birth, I noticed I had a purpose. Keep goodies like your favorite grandmama purses. Just to get it out, I let it out in verses. Even if I felt me a purpose, writing for cursives. And no rehearsing, I know what I need to say. Trying to be free like a pelican or blue jay, but you would say I would never make it out. Yeah, I make my mama proud, but you niggas hating here anyway. And I got one shot, I need me a sling so I can fly and set off my beautiful wings. Who's gonna set me free? Who's gonna set me free? Who's gonna set me free? Who's gonna set me free?
Cage Birds, Doe Cigapom. Man, the music is deep.
That poem right there at the end.
Make you think of all that's been, make you think of all that's past, all that's closed that won't come back again. Think about study, do it, be about what needs to be about what needs. Yeah, please, right now, be about what needs to be. Only
revolution will set us free.
Isn't that something? So what?
Like he said, but in the first part in the intro, you got to hear that album. He was like, how they look at us like a cockroach that's walking on toast and a biscuit, that's impelled into your sympathy for you to feed me. What? Like, how can you just break something? You know what I mean?
He's thinking.
Like, how can you break me down like that? I'm already eating. I'm a cockroach. That's what you made me. So why do I need you to feed me if I'm already a cockroach?
Right.
I eat off everything.
Right.
He took something and glorified it for, I am that cockroach. Because I can infest your house like this world. The black people of color, whether you're Hispanic, Jamaican, Indian, West Indian, Asian, you are black. We infested this world. So we feed you for real. You are really the cockroach, but you made it out in the TV and in the industry world that we are, because we need necessities of material. But that right, oh man.
But that's
sorry,
that. But
I
that's,
just get lost sometimes.
No, because I mean that really shows the depth of what we're talking about, you know, and where that sometimes, in most cases, got lost. You know, it's not there. I mean, you hear about popping Molly, and you hear about 20 bottles, and you talk.
And half of them people that pop Molly don't even know that Duke Ellington used to walk this same street that we walking on right now. Frederick Douglass used to walk this same street that we are walking on right now. Yeah. All of the famous artists that you loved and your mother loved, all of them used to walk this street
before the Harlem Renaissance.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Occurred
Jesus,
on U Street in DC.
Before all of that,
the building where Indulge is was an actual theater, cafe, dinner, restaurant.
Yep.
Harry Belafonte,
I was about to say that,
was hired there and was fired from there. That was his first professional
you told me
act.
that story.
It was. I mean, where we're sitting right now. I mean, this building that we're in,
and that was also the same place a lot of people don't know where Dunbar got kicked out of and ended up opening up his own stores right here on 7th Street when you pass Georgia Avenue in Florida, where the Wells Fargo took that bank now. So, like I said, man, all of these kids don't know their history, and for real, no disrespect, y'all not real Washingtonians to me. Yeah. Y'all don't know y'all history.
Well, that's kind of part of the whole dynamics of the new DC is that
they want to erase our culture. They're really trying to erase go-go. They're really trying to erase the Ben's chili feel, because even Ben's chili don't even taste the same no more. Like let's just be 100. You know what I mean? Florida Grill, Oohs and Ahs, all of these places don't taste how they used to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we gotta have a certain acquired taste for the new people. Damn that. My cornbread gonna taste the same way it came before you got here and after you leave here. And that's what they do. And that's cool. But the people that are still less fortunate, that really have nowhere to go, is they're getting pushed out. And what's not only being pushed out of just the people, but it's the culture, it's the mentality, it's everything that's basically created this area, that built upon not just hip hop music but just music of color people overall. Yeah. I still think we are growing as a people of color. What I think in a parallel world spiritually, I think this world again is what it was maybe in the 1600s or whatever. Like if you notice, there are so many Hispanics again. We are related to Indians. So if you look at it, if we can just put our robes back on and our garbs, that's the time we're in again. Our land then took our land back for real. But they're still trying to find a way to integrate, and that's not a problem either. I don't have a problem with no races or anything. I just have a problem with the people that think that what they did is just still alive to form all of these buildings and governments. Do you think you're giving me something? Exactly. I don't owe you nothing. You don't owe me anything, and you damn sure don't have nothing holding over my head. God gives me everything.
There's a phrase that I was getting into a couple of days ago, and it was, "God bless the man that has his own." I think that's what it was. I might be misphrasing it.
Mhm.
But it spoke
God
so
bless
much.
the child who holds his own.
Is that holds his own. I mean, and that speaks so much to me about, because I mean, me personally, I've always felt like my main priority as an artist or as an entity, as a brand or as anything, is to have full control of any intellectual property that I have. Right. Because I don't quite understand giving away something that I created just for an opportunity of other people experiencing it.
You sound like Huey P. Newton.
You said what?
You sound like Huey Newton.
Yeah, I mean that,
because people fail to forget he was a big poet.
Yeah, I mean
that's those speeches that he was doing outside with guns.
Right.
That was poetry.
Yeah.
People don't think that this man was writing, and that's what people.
Songs of the mind.
Right.
That's what would have me and him marching and having our own march, and somebody trying to. That's what I'm saying. Where that other entity will try to hurt us.
Well, you look where that came from. That came from raw energy. That came from raw inner center of a person's being, because it's such an emotional drive that go. I mean, even to the point of where later on you start hearing the revolution would not be televised. You know, and when you get into some of the other,
have you heard that album? Well, I know you have as a kid,
but
I mean, it on a 45.
I mean, it is still.
It's chilling.
I mean, but that's just
it's beyond.
It's chilling.
When I was in high school, 11th grade, we did that as a stage play, and it was almost overwhelming to try to conceptualize what people was actually trying to convey in respects to, one, the blackness, not just a black man, but the blackness, where that there's an essence that really lives there. And I think that's what's missing, is that we try to write a book about it. I even saw a book once that actually talked about how to be black, or how to be this way.
I know what you
And right now, and we had a conversation yesterday preparing for this particular show. Many people, and I'll go this direction where they say, the white people here in D.C., they're not scared of any of us, because for the most part, they feel that there has been an instructional guidebook on how to be black, and they kind of categorize it. Whereas that really, can you put that into a jar? Can you really take what it means, the trials, the tribulations, the expectations, the faults, the perfections, the imperfections? Can you really take all that in the essence of a person and put it in a 100-page to 200-page book? You cannot.
We change every day.
But because of that, they have now, everybody has risen up to a point of feeling like, well, I'm that. I'm this. It's like I even hear people, at one time when you're like, hey, brother, how you doing? And they're like, brother? Who's my brother? Who's that?
I had a taxi, a guy, he was a Jehovah's Witness, literally look at me crazy because he said, he was like, I'm sorry to even imitate him, but I just have to ask, why did you call me brother? I wanted to go not even Afrocentric on it, but just look at your color, look how your skin shine, bruh. Like, do you know what people are doing to have the skin that you have?
The bigger
do
question
you know
is,
what people are doing? Do you even know from even the people don't even know to the nappiest hair is the reason why the person has the finest hair is because of the nappiest hair. That's not coming from your mom being white or Indian. No, that comes from the actual coursed hair. The hair that you can straighten out, cornrow, dry, press, condition. You can't do that with straight hair. My wife is Puerto Rican. You can't just flat out girl, let me cornrow your hair. No, it's going to break out. It's thin. It's loosen up. So even she knows that. My wife is light skinned. Like, you would think she's white, even how she talks to you. But she would tell you she knows she's black. Because she knows where she's from. She knows Puerto Rico. She knows what it was about. She knows all of those islands and everything. Like, there's no way I'm going to sit here and just say, from even what they say in about when it was dark, then it was light. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, if you really even look at it scientifically, chemically, genetically, you have to have pigmentation first before you to even have no pigmentation. Did I say that the most subliminal? You know what I mean? But direct.
I mean,
so it's true.
I got it.
It's no other way. So even from our name, you can't even give where our name come from, or from being Negro or black or whatever, to where you say Caucasian. We know where that come from.
Everybody.
The mountains, where the black alchemist was finding out how to make skin different. Genetically, the indigo blood, as they used to call it, the ones that can mix with everything, which we do today.
Exactly.
We still mix, so we are the indigo bloods. You're the only people on this respect, and it's two types. My great grandmother has taught me this, and I've seen it. It's not to try to be racist. Certain ones have blue veins, certain ones have green. The ones that have green has melanin. Sicilians, Italians. That's it. So the rest of the Europeans, something happened up there in that mountain.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that's just what I'm starting to see. I've seen it even. My great grandmother used to hate seeing Theodore Roosevelt or the guy who used to dress up, the president.
Okay.
She used to say, "Look at his eyes. Look how he's confronted. He would never tell you the truth, but have a devilish smirk on him." And that's why I was always trying to tell you. My great grandmother was told me certain people that doesn't have hue, they just can't vibrate and cry at the drop because they feel for you, or there's something about it and behind you.
I ain't gonna go.
And she used to always ask that question. How come? And mind you, my grandmother was a slave. She didn't work. Why do they ask what's your alias on applications? Are we aliens? Because I think they are. Because all of the movies they make is about them taking over people on Earth. Like, but look at it. Just in a metaphor. Just look.
My grandmother.
Look.
My grandmother
Them
died.
people can't vibrate like us, man.
Right.
Like, I've been to funerals with their own family. The black people over there, oh Lord, that was my best friend Jesus. And the white dude is just,
God rest his soul.
I hope it's okay.
I mean,
He was struggling.
My grandmother died at 97, and she had 15 children.
Jeez.
And my father was one of the youngest. He was first from the youngest, and so she was a lot older than me. Like my uncle on my father's side is the same age as like my grandmother on my mother's side. But it's like she used to always tell me that you always know when it's cold outside. And I was like, why? And then she was like, because, you know, the Caucasians have on coats. And this is just more so to speak to her frame of mind and how she saw Caucasians. And and I was like, what do you mean, Grandma? And she said, because they're spawned from hell. And it was just like, what exactly does that mean? And she's like, well, it usually takes white people longer to get cold than it does black people. And then I was just like, I don't think that's true. And it took me for a long time. I was just like, she's just giving me that old indentured service slave talk.
Have you remember the thing in the Bible when they was
talking
talking about, I forgot, but it was basically a man of no color, of hue, no hue, and he was casted into the pig. That happens in real life for pigs. It takes them a long time to get cold. When they perspirate,
because of their skin.
When they perspirate, it's very similar. It's very similar. To the point where people don't know even where this lady, I forgot her name, she used to make aloe oil back home. Not in my home, but she was in one of her homes from perspiration of black sweat. And it was the best chemical. She tried to use it, it broke people out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but you won't. They won't put that on the news though.
But you know,
they won't put that on the
it's
news.
Like when you do certain things that happen in the world, especially in different parts of the world, different practices, different things like that. Like a lot of times, it kind of speaks to the frame of mind of the society. Because I know you were talking about Dominican Republic a lot, and it's like, I know a lot of people from Panama and stuff like that.
Got cousins, yes.
Their culture and their society is still very traditional.
Yep, we take care of our family.
Old.
If you come out your backyard with a grill or a calderon about to make some arroz, habichuelas, some sancocho, whatever it is, my cousins, their aunts, mothers, sisters, the whole block we're gonna have a block party. We can do it every day, or somebody gonna go to the store and get some fish, some pollo, whatever. And that's what it is over here.
It's not, and I think
it's
that's
why you over at my gate looking at
our point of society in the United States.
Right.
I think that because we don't have the heritage and the history, just as a country, that a lot of these other places do, and because we're so melting pot and everything like that, and everybody's kind of mixed in with a little bit of something else, and you know, not that saying that
we was already mixing though. That's the thing. We've been mixing for thousands and thousands.
It's like without that consistent story, without that consistent heritage, that legacy, it leads to everybody feeling like strangers.
You know what it is though?
What?
We have everything that you guys have, matrix wise: TV, radios, phones. we don't use them.
I know.
But see,
And that's the, like, not trying to be funny, that's the difference. Back home, we will be on the beach all day drinking Coronas, whatever you want to do, and won't worry about a phone or tell it. You know why? Because we use it when we want to use it. To whereas over here, you are promoted. You're being promoted to use it.
But that spirit is
And
now
that's what
being
it is.
pushed worldwide because, again, going back to what I was saying about how people are being put into a jar. How much do you rate a human soul? How much do you rate, a person of, certain caliber that you admire or afraid of? Black people in particular. So if you can almost take the supernaturalness out of it and make it common, then later it's like you don't have anything to really base yourself on. So now
that's
you
the
got
day
everybody spreading.
But if that happens, though, I think that'll be the day where the special force that helps us go to work every day and receive currency will try to push a big button and kill all of us.
But see, I think we're already kind of there because
we are there. We are there in a commercial way.
Right.
But I'm talking about if everybody vibrated the way that we used to on the indigenous souls.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's dangerous.
They couldn't handle that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But there's a level of truth that's been stripped from that. And
it's truth because they took everything. They moved these lands. They took down these trees. They do all of those things. But at the end of the day, we let them.
Mm-hmm. And they've also demoralized and they also commercialized some of the basic stuff.
It's funny.
Spirituality is one.
Yes, they do that.
Another
you
thing.
should see the people that I've seen come down as a kid. When, I never. Oh my God, he's black. Like, yeah, you've never been to an indigenous land? Caucasus, mountains. That's when that's when I get upset. And then the other side of me just, yep, that's mountains. And that's my little code term. Even my wife like, babe, stop, don't do that. Nah, that's mountains for you right there. Because at the end of the day, you're coming here researching my land, curry spices and all of these flowers that we've been eating and making soups with to help us, and you're charging us for it. That goes to show you knew nothing about what we knew. You waited, you sat back and watched. And that same scheme you learn how to promote and give it right back to us people. And even myself, I said the only common that we have of people is enslaving our own people. Because black people fail to forget that we slaved our own people first.
But that's what I was going to get to. That point is that, unfortunately, we have helped in the commercializing of those things. And it's just like even with music. We can... Wale, you may have seen the post that I put up where is that he was actually getting some backlash from people here in D.C. because he was saying that how, what was it? What's his name? From
I already know
MTV,
what you're about to say, yeah.
From, he's right on the tip of my tongue, but he was interviewing him on Sway was interviewing him. And Sway basically, said that, why hasn't go-go music... and he even said, I want to give homage to go-go music. So why hasn't go-go music really gotten out there to the mainstream? And Wale said the reason why is because it draws violence because of how they're calling out cliques, they're calling out different groups, this crew. And if these two crews are meeting in the same spot.
That's what our foundation was at. And you see what I'm saying? And, but that's what they was already doing at. You see what I'm saying? Like, I played go-go. And what people fail to forget, it's hard for us to be the band and watch y'all really do that to us. You see what I'm saying? But if that's the culture that we young, why can't we not show love to the neighborhoods that we know?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And no disrespect. He didn't really come from this area to even see that culture. You see what I'm saying? Your family came down in here to come see that culture.
We're not supposed to say that.
I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to just be honest about it. I got love for the dude and the dude's craft and all of that. Yeah. But, like, it's tattooed on me. Right. Not for style, even for the fact that I'm wearing a white man's crest on my arm. But this is where my birth certificate is. This is where my first home was. Like, there's a vibration that I'm very passionate when it comes to go-go music because I know what it is about the real underground where you don't hear the radio songs and we play our own music and we can tell you the difference from a socket to a pocket, from open hi-hat grooves to closed hi-hat grooves, to roller toms to dope jam grooves, to bounce to slow bounce. So it's like all of those things. Even though I don't really not a big fan of bounce because I can some bounce bands. They are like the Gucci man of rap. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It really is. No, I'm sorry. I'm Hispanic. Yeah. So when you are playing timbales, dung, 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 dung. What in the hell are you doing to my instruments? And that's what I have the right to ask, because when I learned how to play rollatones and doing the the booty calls, the old songs that they call those, you know what I mean? But I had to go surfaced and watch what's his name? Tito Puentes. I had to watch people like that. Jesus Rodriguez. Like, these are people that was playing this stuff. Say they've been doing go-go for years too.
Right.
Go-go also came from the term from India. Look it up. The musical term go-go is from India. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's another metaphor to show you how far that music had been traveling for years before it even hit Washington, D.C.
And the fact that it's still existing.
And it's still growing.
Right.
If we are not related to all people of color, then who are we related to?
But see, those are the connections that I feel like needs to be discussed and needs to be taught.
They don't want us to discuss those things.
If you don't know how you're connected to the person sitting next to you or the person sitting across from you, you're not going to really care what happens to the person sitting across from you or sitting next to you.
Yes.
Like, if you don't understand that everybody is connected somehow, even 6 degrees of separation, all that stuff, everybody is connected. That's just how the world rotates. That's how it works.
Right.
Whether you're on a different continent or whether you're here. One of my best friends is in North Korea in the military. I'm still connected to him. Like, I still feel him. Like, we still talk. I still feel for him. So it's like, we're all connected no matter how far you are, whether you have seen somebody or not or met somebody. It's the same thing. We're all human beings. We all come from the same thing.
Right.
So look, this conversation has really been not only enlightening, but I'm sure for our listeners as well, a true education, not only just of music, but of the soul, and just really a lot of points that we can take away, and that is that we don't throw away our heritage, we don't throw away people, and that we strengthen and we bond everyone. And so I'm saying that because we got a last few seconds, and I want to make sure that you shout out to the DMV, where you're going to be performing, and also what you're going to be doing.
How we can get in touch with you. Where can we find you?
Yes, you can get in touch with me at my website is DoeCigapom.com, DOE-CIGAPOM, as in man, .com, because some people put in. And you can also reach me at Twitter and @ Doe Cigapom.